way that might make you make certain decisions easier. Our purpose is just so that you know what your options are, and maybe this webinar will help you make a better decision for your life, for the life of your loved one. So let me quickly explain what Avana Health is. Avana Health is an integrative healthcare company. We provide one-on-one plans for people to reverse, manage, or prevent chronic diseases like cancer. We work with a variety of health conditions such as cancer, cardiometabolic diseases, hormonal, reproductive, and a variety of diseases. And sorry, my screen is just blanking out. Yeah, so we provide, so we work with all these conditions, and Avana Health was started because we believe, me and my partner Shruti, we are founders of Avana Health, and we believe that there is a better way. There has to be a better way for people to work with conditions, work with, to come out of their health problems. And
Hello, my name is Vamshi. I want to speak with you.
Mr. Vamshi, we'll give you a chance after the webinar, please.
Thank you, madam.
I think Tanya's okay. I'll go ahead. So basically, as she said, we have our programs based on cancer, cardiometabolic, hormonal, infertility. We have a panel of doctors, and Dr. Millie is one of them. We take patients online and we give them a better way to deal with their issues. We consult on nutrition, we give them alternative therapies, mental counseling, and movement therapy as well. So today's topic is very, very close to my heart. And because I was diagnosed myself with cancer in 2016, and Dr. Millie was one of my first doctors, so I have a very emotional connect with her. When somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, there is a whole lot of confusions, lot of questions come into your mind as to what kind of treatment do you want to go with. Do you really want to go with conventional treatment? Is conventional treatment really needed? Or if you're going with conventional treatment, what is the other way? Because cancer happens because if something is gone wrong in your body. We all have cancer cells. It's just that our immune system doesn't respond well, and then it starts to mutate. And there are multiple reasons of you getting cancer. It is just not one reason, and it takes years and years to develop cancer. So once it comes, of course, the one thing which comes to your mind is obviously go to the doctor, and there is so much of pressure of taking this conventional path. But is it the real good path for you, or should you wait? Should you get the answers to your questions, and then choose a path which is actually relevant to your condition? So today we are going to answer all these questions. I'm not saying don't go with the conventional treatment. That is not our way of treatment. Saying whatever you do, take an informed decision. So today, Dr. Millie, again, I'm welcoming you. It's a pleasure to have you again and again. This topic is very close to both of us, because that's the reason we connected. And cancer is spreading like a wildfire. It's said that by 2015, every second person is going to get diagnosed. It's just like diabetes, cancer is happening. You get patients, I get patients, 20-year-olds are getting cancer, women, men, even children. So let's go by simple definition of cancer. I know everybody is onto it, but let's just take one step at ahead and let's talk about what is cancer, and then the causes, and then we'll go to the treatments.
Sure. So are you asking me what is cancer to
So
be
cancer,
answered, or do
yeah,
you?
I mean, I can define what is it. It's a simple, it's an abnormal growth of
It's
your cells.
it's
The cells
no.
mutate
So
because of n number of reasons, because of the DNA, because of certain your genes, environment toxins. Also, the lifestyle plays an important role. Most of the cancers are lifestyle related. Actually, 70% of cancers are lifestyle related. The way you're eating, breathing, even like factors like smoking, eating tobacco, alcohol, they contribute so much. And now these days, the environment toxins. So of course, as I mentioned, right, we have cancer cells. Everyone has cancer cells. Every day there's some toxins. The cancer cells are there in our body. It's just that the immune system doesn't respond to it well. So you have Dr. Millie, you can talk more about it.
so so before we go ahead with cancer, okay. 50 years back, have you heard about cancer? No, not so common. What was different then and what is different now? One, that our environment has got devoid of oxygenation. So the environmental oxygen levels have decreased over a period of time. Um, so previously, if you say there are studies done by environmentologists that 30 years back, the environmental oxygen level, that is air oxygen, was 23%. Today, our cities have environmental oxygen of 13% in the air, means they have got depleted considerably. And that is what is leading. The root cause for any cancer cell is lack of oxygen to that cell. And it understands the signal that, oh, there is no oxygen. What do? We keep multiplying to provide more oxygen, more glucose to for the energy. And this is what leads to uncontrolled growth of your own cell at a signal where there is hypoxia to the cell. Hypoxia to the cell is the root cause for any cancer disease. That's where it starts. Either it is a solid tumor or it is a liquid oncology or whatever. Main first one, solid tumor, the root cell or the stem cell of a cancer is hypoxic to its core. Its oxygen or of Hg of O2 is only 2 to 5, where against your normal oxygen, normal cell will be 40 to 45 of Hg of O2. So you see there is a drastic change between environmental oxygen, and that is why you're seeing rampant growth of cancer across the world. Okay, so this is one main important, which is besides the normal thinking of cancer, when you go for any conventional doctor or any other, oh, it's because of your gene, it's because of this, your
Yeah.
carcinogens. But the main reason for cancer cells to start multiplying is lack of oxygen at the cellular level. Okay, that is the most
Yeah.
important causative factor. There are mainly 5 different, so chemical pathology, there is pathophysiological, there is because of environmental toxin, it is because of your infection, and then it is stress induced. So yes, the causes are all there, and main important to that, you will see a CA colon patient will obviously have a history of lot of constipation. Just go and see any patient. Suppose, for example, Hodgkin's lymphoma, they will have severe history of allergies in their childhood, in their this thing. So Shruti is nodding yes.
Yes, I had,
So
and I had no clue why I was having those because I never knew there is any lymphatic system or there is lymphatic, lymph line
yes.
across the blood. We've never taught, and even for that matter, when you go to an oncologist or if you go for conventional treatment, they never tell you what causes. They will only have 2 questions. Maybe it's in your genes, or we don't know. So those kind of
Then usually they don't know. Usually nobody knows, but
Yeah.
what is happening? See, there's Dr. Otto Warburg. Anybody who is interested in history of how cancer has developed, in 1940, when the cancer cells were just found, the new found cancer cells, he got twice Nobel Prize for a invention or the finding that the cancer cells are hypoxic to the core, and you re-establish oxygen, it will go back to the regression. This is the beautiful finding, but the whole world worked on so many medicines, but not worked on how you can rebalance this oxygen. And once you do that, you will definitely find much, much better results with any conventional treatment or any Ayurvedic, any treatment which you take. You need to rebalance oxygenation in your body. That's most important.
And also, Dr. Millie, when we were discussing, and what I found out is like there are mainly two reasons of having cancer. Acidosis, like complete acidity in the, I don't mean acidity, but acidic blood.
No, it's so
And the
pH of your body.
yeah, the pH of your body. And when I had got diagnosed with cancer, and I actually was with a strip, the pH strip, the pH was it was so acidic, my body. I didn't have acidity per se, but the blood was completely acidic. So this is one very important uh, point to be noted, that mainly two reasons, acidity and the lack of oxygen. These need to be really, really corrected
So
once you
it
have.
is not acidity, it is called acidosis. So
Yeah,
what happens when your body is diseased? You shift your body's cell respiration from aerobic to anaerobic. And when you have anaerobic respiration, you have acid generating with every cell type when you're breathing. So every cell respiration, you will have acidosis. And that leads to feed. See, the cancer cells grow only in glucose. You cut down the glucose, they will not multiply so fast.
right,
But
right.
they also this acidosis needs to be controlled. So this, it's not acidity per se. It's basically called as acidosis, or that imbalance in your uh, gut microbiome also causes acidosis. So it's basically, it's a connective, and we don't to stop treating cancer as breast cancer, this
Yeah,
cancer, that
yeah,
cancer. You
yeah,
need to look at disease as a whole. This
exactly.
is your whole body showing one symptom somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, so cancer is not compartmental disease.
Yeah.
Cancer is a systemic whole body problem. Okay.
And that's where we like the mind body balance comes into a place. And I also learned this uh, when I got diagnosed with cancer, that any disease has to be treated holistically. It is so important. It's just not one part, but the whole body which gets affected. If there is cancer in one organ, the other organ will be affected no matter what. So that's also an important point. Now I just want to quickly get to the stages of cancer development. This is important because generally what happens in the initiation, promotion, and the progression stage. uh, Initiation and promotion, where I think is can be reversed. Progression is one thing which can be managed, but if you're in the initiation and promotion stage, initiation means the toxin escapes and it's like that just starts mutation. Promotion is when the tumor starts forming, and the progression of, obviously we are talking about like the fourth stage or maybe. So Dr. Millie, can you just explain it a little more on these things?
So the initiation can start as early as like 10 years back.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a seed. Seed could be toxic mind, it could be toxic environment, could be anything, any carcinogen. We all have genes, we all have genetic typing, all the cells have genetic typing. But when the typing, that carcinogens are fed more, that's where you have the initiation. This initiation then leads to promotion. So if you, um, for example, if your grandparents or parents had cancer, you already have that initiation in you, you have that gene. Okay, but don't feed it. Don't feed it with carcinogens. Don't feed it with a lot of, junk lifestyle, oxidative stress, inflammatory food. Don't feed it. Then the promotion will not happen. So initiation can be there from gene, from any environmental toxin or anything. Promotion is where you start seeing the actual symptom. And progression is when you have metastasis. So when you already have cancer, you've worked on it, maybe it has gone in regression, but if you again have a junk lifestyle or something which you do, it can reappear, and that's where the progression or the metastasis can happen. So
Yeah.
initiation stage, nobody will come to know. Nobody. It's only when you have promotion or when the body forgets to repair and body forgets to know the difference between normal repair and mutagenic changes, that's
Yeah.
where you see the disease. Okay.
Yeah.
So ideally, we will not find anybody who has into initiate, or if you find, everybody will be having carcinogens and
Carcinogen. Yeah.
this thing. But you need to stop there. You do not need to feed it more.
Yes. Generally, what happens also is like when, as you said, people have a history of cancer in their family, and they get so scared, like most of the people, like especially with the ladies' breast cancer, and they go with they I have one patient or two patients like that, and they are so scared, and I always tell them, let's your genetic structure can change by the way you are consuming food or the way you are treating your mind. So don't get scared because of this, because there is something called epigenetics. And
That's what I was coming to it.
yeah.
So you can change your genetic typing by the epigenetics. Okay.
Yes, so
What you
important for
do,
cancer. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what choices you have, what choices you make is most important in living healthy. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So now, when someone gets cancer, supposedly, and we want to talk about alternative therapies, the whole point is to take away something and understand what alternative therapies. Now, that when you go to Google, there are n number of therapies, n number of therapies. Even I got confused. Which therapy is good for me? Should I go with this? Should I go with that? Confusions. So, how do you choose an alternative path? Uh, I believe, Dr. Millif, tell me wrong, one is nutritional for sure. You become what you eat. The cancer cells, you feed cancer cells with sugar. So, nutritional therapy, definitely. And obviously, there are other therapies where there can be an Ayurveda therapy, there can be oxygen therapy, there can be detoxing therapies based on, first of all, what I feel, the mindset of the person is so important over here, which path to choose. Because if you are not ready and if you're not accepting the alternative path and you don't believe in it, neither this will work or neither that will work. Dr. Mili, if you have any certain, I mean, and you treat so many patients with alternative therapies and you've seen miracles, right? And you've seen people have forced alternative therapy. So you want to talk about how can we choose and what do we choose supposedly for any kind of, healing therapy?
So, yeah. So we are not here that you don't take conventional. What I would say, we should have something called multidisciplinary uh, team. The multidisciplinary team is, why is patient losing, or why do they have so much of problems? Why do they die? Why do they have so many recurrences? Because one doctor is not talking to the other one. They're all working as a single, unit.
Yeah.
In the bargain, the patient is losing. So if you go to an oncologist, you say, I'm doing diet. Why? You can eat all salt, nothing sugar,
Yeah.
sab kuch kha lo, kya farak hai? Okay, but if they just have one little thought that if you tell them, why don't you consult on, plant-based diet? There's so many evidences. oxygenation, so many evidences. And why do they choose to neglect it? I am not sure. It's only that they're too busy with so much of load, I feel. If they come to know that there are some treatments which are so good, they might, look into the, approach. But I think they're too heavily worked up. But I would suggest that there should be a multidisciplinary doctors team which is working on patients. It is working towards the betterment of the patient. So
Yes.
if you are going for operation, say breast tumor, you've operated. Now you really don't come into the category of chemotherapy. You just need to take radiation. Now, what can you see in radiation? That you can drop D3. When you take radiation, your nutrition level goes down. When you take radiation, here they give medicine as supplements. We want to give medicine as therapy, as the treatment.
Mm.
Okay, so we have a difference of, we use nutrition like vitamin C, vitamin D. For example, also there are certain nutraceuticals which we give with for like a curcumin. Curcumin is anti-cancerous. It's so good. If certain things can be incorporated along with what they're doing, you can take your route whichever you wish to. Have a multiple disciplinary or multidisciplinary
Yeah.
a therapy approach.
Yes.
And that therapy approach can lead to a longer, like plant-based medicine works perfect. If you can't leave anything, just leave your white sugar. Just only
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Only that. I am not telling huge things like, stop this, stop that. Be happy. Be happy when you're eating. I've seen cancer patient taking chemo side, दूसरे side में soda, thumbs up पी रहे, कोक पी रहे, क्योंकि weakness आ रहा है. उनको लगता है thumbs up कोक से ठीक हो जाएगा
हाँ.
weakness.
हाँ.
But wrong hai. It's completely wrong.
Yeah.
And there you feel that why these people are so ignorant.
Yes.
It's because that doctors have not spent time with them.
Yeah. And
Because
that's
they
what
have,
it is. So, and when I used to go and take that chemotherapy, and I used to ask patients, and I had told you, I always used to ask, you are coming for the second or third relapse. Why didn't you change this? What made you, what went wrong? They didn't have any answer. They're just going blindly with what the doctor is saying. We are here to tell you that please take informed decisions. Cancer happens, a disease, any matter, any disease happens for a reason. Treat the root cause. And that's one reason when we started Avana was to spread this awareness. Like she's talking about a multidisciplinary team. We also have a team who works with each and every part, because I know what a cancer patient goes through emotionally, financially, and also physically, and also, the confusions the doctor create in your mind.
Yeah.
I really hope that this webinar is so important, and points what Dr. Millie is telling, that everybody focuses on different sort of therapies, not only one therapy. Try different things because the body, each and everybody's body is different, each and everybody's system is different, genes are different, environment is different. So you need to don't give up on things. There are n number of therapies, and just pick up and choose whatever suits you.
True.
So let's talk about nutritional therapy. As we were mentioning, okay, one needs to change the way they're eating food, especially the processed food, especially the junk food, which is going. There are scientific studies why plant-based food is very good for cancer, treating cancer. And I am one of the examples. When I got diagnosed, I completely went plant-based, whole plant-based. Dairy, of course, is one. It's infested with hormones. It is infested with a lot of carcinogens, especially the kind of dairy you're getting. I'm not talking about A2 guy or A2 milk and all, but I'm talking about general dairy. It is infested with a lot of hormones. It can of course, it is related to your hormone cancers. Lot of GMO products, if lot of chemical infested products, gluten, dairy, red meat is associated with cancer. Now, even WHO agrees to it. And alcohol smoking, everybody knows. Main thing is about eating a lot of good diet while you are having nutritional support when you are going through cancer, because the body, along with the chemotherapy, obviously kills the cancer cells, but even the good cells get depleted and it just gets out. So you can't eat pav bhaji or you can't eat vada pav. I've seen people eating vada pav during chemotherapy, and it really burnt me that the doctor is not telling them anything. They're eating acidic food while taking that acidic drug inside them. So there has to be some sort of mindset towards clean eating while going through cancer. Dr. Millie, up to you. Like, what do you say?
Yeah, true. So, you know, I would say that bhaji is okay. Eat it. But that pav is not. Okay. And if that spice is not, that butter is not. So that vegetable, the combination of vegetable is wonderful. You can have. Okay. So you can have all kind of ginger, garlic. I'm not here to stop anybody's food. What we are looking at, that eat healthy, eat natural, eat seasonal, eat what your ancestors were eating.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because your genetic typing is according to your ancestral food. So today, if you're a North Indian, and if I stop your, my voice is less.
No, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would not say, so eat natural, eat local, eat what your ancestors ate. So if you say the Punjab, but like Punjab, people eat gluten. Now people do eat gluten there, but they also used to that time eat wheat along with the covering of it. तो जौ के साथ खाते थे.
Yes.
अब हमने मॉडर्नाइजेशन में वो जौ निकाल दिया, सिर्फ गेहूं रखा,
हाँ,
उसको भी पॉलिश कर दिया,
पॉलिश कर दिया.
उसका
Yeah.
जितना न्यूट्रिशन था सब निकाल दिया, और फिर अब हम सिर्फ ग्लूटेन खाते हैं. ओके. सो अगर खाना है आपको, खपली गेहूं खाओ. खपली गेहूं is what is along with the chilka of the gehu. That is not gluten. Completely gluten free. Okay. No, maida rava to bandi ho jayega, because that is all polished and all processed.
Processed. Yeah.
Okay, that is processed. Though it looks raw, but it is processed. So eat the food at its raw form. So abhi aap agar if you're peeling the गेहूं, तो उसका जो actual first जो है उसको ही खाओ, उसमें और
The
process
husk.
मत करो.
The husk, you
Okay.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So उसको process मत करो. If गेहूं खाना है तो गेहूं को वो छानो मत, उसको
So
उसमें छिलके के
generally,
साथ खाओ.
people do shortcuts and now they get Ashirwad atta at home. So we have to actually check the people's pantry. What are they eating? Because then we get, oh, you're eating this. This can cause a lot of problems. And during cancer, the digestive system gets overloaded. So you have to understand eating also, Dr. Millie, I feel fiber, good fiber food.
Good fiber, of course, of course. So I'm coming to that. So when we say avoid dairy, means avoid milk which is with hormone infested. Okay, I2 है ले लो, natural है आपके सामने निकल रहा है ले लो, but it should not be with those machines. It should not be with those hormonal tablets given. It should be natural milking cow. It should not be put in like, a lot of hormone and then the cow is giving milk and milk and milk. No. Okay, that becomes, if you have such natural resources, have it. Otherwise, stop. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, I think the food has to be natural, unprocessed,
It has, yes.
and
So food has to be
yeah,
natural, unprocessed, to its origin, and seasonal and
seasonal.
local.
Yes, yes.
And local. So
And
today, sitting in,
also, what I would suggest is like eat a lot of herbs, like you suggested, curcumin, wheatgrass, giloy, all these things really help the immune system.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
these things,
now
yeah,
why wheatgrass? Okay, I'll just give you a simple. Wheatgrass is active chlorophyll. Any green plant, if you eat it within the plucking, so अगर वो root से उठाया है आपने, within 2 hours, if you eat that wheat grass, it's the best. Okay, that's why we say grow your own wheat grass and have it.
yeah,
क्योंकि आप तभी का तभी उसको निकालोगे, धो के उसका जूस बना के पियोगे. Now we have this fashion of having wheatgrass powder and all. I am not sure how much it contains.
It's just
उससे
because
उससे
people use it because they don't have time to make it. Yeah,
if you feel, then just have coriander or celery juice.
yeah. So
You
add
really
a
don't
lot of
need
greens in your diet.
yeah.
Most of the people cannot digest raw food, so you can actually, I mean, smoothies are the best way to
So
blend.
I do not like complete raw food. I like them sauteed. I like them sauteed on low flame. Low flame, that it should not crackle the seeds.
Yeah,
So agar aap, the saute should be at 30 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius.
yes,
It's called slow heat cooking.
yeah,
Okay. So slow heat cooking is perfect. Include lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, that goes without saying.
yes.
I don't want you to open a packet and eat something, rather peel a fruit and eat something.
Yeah, packaged foods are absolutely no, absolutely no.
I mean,
Uh,
when you look at children, they really love that packaged food. Okay. But you can balance it out by giving some fruits to them.
yeah,
Because being children, they are going to enjoy that. I'm not saying no, but at the same time, balance it out.
balance it out. Yes.
Yeah.
The next therapy,
And
yeah,
no, one important is have a detox. So
yeah,
you should do something where you are perspiring.
yeah,
Even if you're a cancer patient, even if you can walk, you can do active breathing,
yeah.
somewhere where you sit in the sun.
Yes, because the water retention happens a lot during chemotherapy also, or any other. You need to move your lymph, you need to remove the toxins. You have to sweat, you have to have some movement. Otherwise, the joints, there is a lot of lactic acid which comes, and
Yes.
then so you have to do some kind of movement, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just take some time to just do. Sit, don't sit too much, don't lie too much, just walk a bit, then sit. uh, but you have to do this movement. The next, obviously, we were talking about detox. Cancer, one of the reasons is exposure to these toxins in the environment, and heavy metals and so many other things come in our body. They get accumulated, especially in the intestines, and that's the reason where we start getting developing some abnormalities, and then all of a sudden the liver gets overloaded, the kidney gets overloaded, because they're not, the body is already, like you said that day, the lid, you were talking to me about the detox. uh, our body, once, that whole gutter terminology,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
we need to be detoxing our bodies generally, but more than ever now these days. We are just not we are sitting too much, we are not moving too much, the body is not detoxing because obviously we don't have any control on the environment. So there are ways where you can detox, and enema is one of them, sauna is one of them, and we are going to talk about ozone when we are coming to it. Natural detox, of course, is like first is the nutrition. We give you a series of detoxes once you join our plans, especially for cancer. And also there are simple ways which you can detox is you even like your skin, like dry brushing. And you can also like do steaming and saunas wherever possible. Enema, you want to talk about enemas, Dr. Millie?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Uh, are you going ahead with ozone? So,
Yeah, no,
see, any
ozone I'm going to talk about, yeah, just like in the end, or you
doesn't
want to
matter.
take ahead right now, whatever. Like you can
No, no,
start.
it's okay.
Yeah.
So, enemas. Now, when we see whenever you are with environmental toxin, your liver is completely, you know, full of toxins, and whatever you are having, they all go and store at liver because liver is a processing unit of your
Yes.
body. Okay. Now, what happens is you need to cleanse that liver, and you can't do it with drinking something or eating fruits, or because it does not reach to the internal liver
Yeah.
parenchyma. For to reach that, you need to take a gut route. You need to take an enema route. You can take aloe vera juice enema, you can take coffee enema, you can take ozone, you can take different types of enemas for cleansing your liver. Now that happens only by enemas. It's called retention enemas. Retention enemas is a huge topic. It is according to the patient's requirement. But whatever we need to do, we see the patient and then decide what can we do.
Yes.
Now,
You want
uh,
to talk about,
so
yeah.
then the yoga. Now, yoga is so beautiful that it unites your mind, body, and soul, which we all know. But yoga connects your mind and body through breath. If there is any bridge between your mind and your body, is your breath. You see, if you are anxious, you will start breathing faster. Your body will start moving faster. Or if you are feeling shocked, you will have shallow and slow breathing, and you will start sinking, feeling low. Now, the only thing, so you need to train your wild monkey with breath.
Yeah.
Wild monkey is your brain, and it does a lot of activity through your body. But you want to tame it, you want to control it, it only breath can do it. So yoga always helps for any cancer patient. Come what may,
Absolutely.
if it is
Absolutely is the thing.
solid tumor.
Even I would like to add one point. First of all, you are so stressed about getting some disease in the body. And during cancer, it is important, like she said, oxygen, and to keep your mind at that parasympathetic mode. We are like surrounded by uncertainty, and we forget to live in the moment. So for me, what changed was the breathing. When I started yoga during the cancer, of course, I learned a lot of other forms of yoga therapy, but the breathing, the breathing patterns for particular and the particular asanas which I learned really calmed my mind. And to an extent that I'm now going to become a yoga teacher, I really wanted to go into deep and deep into it, because that's one therapy which will not only it's good for your body, but as she said, it is just so calming. And if your mind is in your control, your body can be in control. One very important thing about when you get cancer is the mind. If it is in your control, you can lead it to anywhere, to happy moments, unhappy moments. And then you can make informed decisions. You connect with yourself so much with the food, as she said, multidisciplinary yoga, nutrition. You become the master of your own health. That's what I would like to say here.
True, true, true. So now you take mindfulness, of course,
Yes.
that's the, calm mind, which you think is most important. So mindfulness is also very important. Mindfulness in talking, mindfulness in thinking, mindfulness in eating, at the same time, mindfulness about detoxing. So if
Yeah.
you have to have the full mindfulness for everything. So I think that is also very important, what you can.
Yeah. Mindfulness also comes with shedding a lot of your emotional load, which is important. We work as in Avana, we have therapists who will try and help you forgive yourself, forgive others, uh, just connect with your own self. Self love is so important during this time. We start, we have so much of inhibitions on giving ourselves that kind of love and help and support. And this is the time when you need to understand why cancer has come into your life, or any disease has come into your life, is to show you another path. Maybe this path will bring you more happiness. It's up to you. It's up to your mind, whether to take it as a challenge or whether to just sit and get depressed.
True. True.
So now, alternative therapy, one of the major therapies which also helped me and a lot of Avana's patient, is ozone therapy. And Dr. Millie is an expert. She is an ozone forum's president
President
of
of
India. And she has seen so many miracles, and and she has trained a lot of doctors under her. And we would like her to, Dr. Millie, if you can just explain what is ozone therapy. And
So ozone therapy is a bio-oxidative therapy. It works as oxygenation. So it rebalances oxygen. At the same time, it oxidizes the cancer cells. So it's like a double-edged sword. You are getting oxygen balancing. At the same time, you are getting oxidizing compound, like cancer cells will get reduced. So it's a beautiful way of giving detox, improving oxygen in your body. It balances your immunity. So it has immune modulation. Uh, it can balance your hormones. So if any tumor is hormone related, like ovary or like breast, you are getting this balance of the hormone balancing also. Along with that, ozone therapy helps in healing and repair. So all the mechanisms which are defaulty in cancer, you can rebalance when you are doing ozone therapy. It's a beautiful therapy to reduce oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress is very high in cancer. Your body is undergoing compromising situation under many. So glucose is all, pulled towards the this thing. So you feel weak. There will be a lot of circulation in one part, the other parts will be having less circulation. So you get cramping or you get little fatigued. So all this gets kind of gets balanced when you do ozone therapy. It is a wonderful supportive adjuvant therapy and it works extremely well. It is not a magic wand, okay? It needs to be taken repetitively because it's only oxygen. There is no medicine, no chemical. It's only a active charged oxygen given in your body. So it works better that way. So we've been working for last 18 years in Ozone Forum of India in promoting ozone. It is an integrated naturopathy. We've been training a lot of doctors. We've trained them more than 2,400 doctors across India, also few from Malaysia, Bangladesh, and Indonesia. So, yeah, we are slowly promoting this as a complementary adjuvant therapy. And it worked very well in COVID-19 also, in immunity also. So overall, ozone improves oxygenation, circulation, reduces the toxic overload. It improves your immunity, modulates your immunity. It enhances your well-being, improves hormonal balancing. It has wonderful effect without side effects. It's a beautiful oxygen-based therapy, can be used for cancer. We call it from cough, cold to cancer. You can use it in anything.
Yes.
So you've seen, Shruti, how the patients feel better after that.
Yeah.
As but it is a very powerful natural antimicrobial. So
Yeah.
when you take antibiotics, you have a lot of side effects. You take ozone, the infection reduces, at the same time you have general well-being. So
Right.
it's a holistic approach.
It is absolutely a holistic approach. Dr. Millie, can you talk about different types of ozone therapy so that
Yes.
people?
So the detox which you get with ozone therapy happens because of the rectal insufflation, which is a retention enema of oxygen ozone mixture in the rectum, like an enema. Okay, we also have ozonated steam sauna, which improves your skin. So it gives you detox from the skin. You can drink ozonated water that gives you the gut detox. Okay, these are the detox. But then what can we do for oxygenation and oxidation? We have ozonated saline. We have a lot of ozone, other applications which improve your oxygen circulation, immunity, and so on. So we have systemic and local different types of application. It works extremely well. It all depends. It's a patient-centric treatment and not standard treatment for everyone.
Yeah.
So XYZ will require few sessions. The other one will require something else.
Absolutely, it's depending upon the patient situation. And yes, that was nice. So now, should we take questions, Dr. Millie?
Yes, yes. You have something, your presentation done?
I think we are almost done. Oh, there was more about ozone therapy.
Yeah. So basically this was all, so it's basically mechanism of action. I can convert, I've taken all points. It works extremely well as antimicrobial, works and
I want to
normalizing
talk
molecular-
about inflammation and cancer, which we already had talked, but to the root cause, any disease is one of the inflammation is the root cause of any disease.
Now, okay. So, inflammation is good.
Yeah.
But over-inflammation, hyperinflammation is not good. So
Yeah.
inflammation is a healing mechanism for your body. But your body undergoes or fails to go as a reset. And
Yeah.
that inflammation continues. That's where the cancer happens. So you must have this on and off switch of in your body, which will not be if you have a junk lifestyle.
True.
Because you're fueling the inflammation.
Absolutely.
So if you want to be having, improved inflammation, you need to eat anti-inflammatory foods, which are fruits and vegetables and raw at its form.
Yeah.
Also, casein-free, gluten-free. So gluten-free is not completely, avoid refined flours. You can have whole grain. That's wonderful. That's not a problem. Okay, so anti-inflammatory food and that oxygenation is very important in inflammatory control. And inflammation is good, but only thing is we need to be knowing where, or your body need to understand switch off. Switch on is easy, everyone will understand. You hit somebody, there will be inflammation. Okay,
right.
But your body has to understand now that stress is gone. You need to calm down, right? So that calming down. So the whole thing is start low, go slow. Very importantly is that have a gentle approach, have multiple disciplinary approach. We are not here that this is good, this is bad, this is good. No, everything together is wonderful for you. Have a holistic treatment approach.
Absolutely. That's very important to have a holistic. We need to change something here when treating disease. It should not be compartmentalized. As she said, there has to, if you want to live a healthy lifestyle, and I am one of the examples because I'm still living a holistic lifestyle, and so many of our patients, we give them this confidence and also the approach to take the responsibility of their own health and informed decisions. With regards to cancer, this is my whole and sole purpose, that you take, when people come and say, oh my God, I have to do these many chemos or I have to do these many radiation, I said, start looking inside. First, take take the responsibility, disconnect yourself, your body. Does it really need so much inversions? Is there any other answer to it? So I feel that that's important, because we are very disconnected. We are living very disconnected in our lives. We don't know what's going in our body, and this is where Avanas come into the picture, where we want you to understand the whole holistic lifestyle. So now let's see if you have any questions. Dr. Millie is here to answer. If anybody wants to talk to her, or Dipali, can you open the chat box? Okay. Ayushi, the multidisciplinary team that you mentioned about, does the team work along with allopathy, or can we leave it and work on a holistic treatment only?
Okay. It can work along with allopathy. There is no harm in doing along with allopathy. We don't have a problem if your allopath does not have one. Okay, I have so many patients who take chemo and radiation. Along with that, they take nutrition. Along with that, they do diet. Along with that ozone therapy, yoga, meditation, they do everything. And they live, you will not feel that they are cancer patients. So it is personal choice. It is patient's choice. Informed information, informed treatment is very important. If somebody says, I don't know what we are doing, but we will try this medicine on you. If they don't know, who else will know? Okay.
Exactly.
So then you must understand what are your other options. Okay. So I am looking at the multiple disciplinary team needs to understand that patient is a whole. You cannot treat one part of your body and ruin the other parts. Okay. So, or support the other parts. What is more, both is important, right? You cannot ruin other part, and you need to support. So we don't have problem in working along with multiple disciplinary approach. We are okay. We have patients of both sorts. We are completely fine. Not an issue from my side.
Yeah. So Mr. Mehul is obviously has written alternative therapy for cancer is misleading. I think it makes one feel that it is a replacement for conventional treatment. It should have been holistic approach along with cancer treatment, I think. Mr. Mehul,
okay, I didn't understand the question only. Where is the okay? The heading subject line alternative therapy for cancer is misleading. I think it makes one feel that replacement of convention. Oh, you mean to say the topic of today is misleading? Okay.
Yeah. Can I explain that, Dr. Millie?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Dr. Millie. My name is Mehul Vyas. I'm a stage 4 throat cancer survivor. I'm in my 8th year of remission, and I've been through chemo and radiation together again, a year plus treatment. So when I saw this heading, alternative therapy for cancer, I was like, oh, okay, so this looks like something, the usual thing, like, there are so many online things that go on, stop this and take this and do that. And so I thought, okay, let me see what's there. So when you started talking and I saw the slides, and I understand most of the things, because it's been now 7 years. I'm talking to people. I have my own support groups, and I agree to all what you said. Like you gave an example of having milk that should be not contaminated with chemicals. Agree. But then people take it in the other way. Don't have milk, don't have sugar. I have never stopped anything. I was never told to stop anything. But I was told that you should not have anything that has preservatives or chemicals that can ignite something in your body and, take you the wrong way again. So yeah, that was just, I thought, I just point out, hey, this was misleading to me. It could be for others. So maybe going forward, you could just.
The idea was to make you all understand ozone therapy and other supportive therapies for cancer. So we should have written complementary therapy for cancer approach. Yes, this thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I just.
No, it's
No,
okay. So this is
it's everybody. This is a platform where everybody can talk. It's not like that. But we wanted to know people, like the whole thing about this was obviously talk about ozone therapy and also tell people that, you know, whether it's a conventional approach or even we have patients who are not even taking conventional approach. So there is a way, even nutrition, even mindfulness, they are all more powerful
we
ways of healing
okay.
cancer. So it's
Here,
a
here we didn't say about vitamin C, IV vitamin
yeah,
C therapy.
yeah,
Okay, that's huge. That can be alternative to
cancer.
chemo and radiation.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
that
again,
can be. It's not in
people,
India though. We have few centers. Our center is one of them, which works as a high dose vitamin C therapy center. We have very few doctors who've been working professionally under high dose vitamin C therapy. It does work as a pro-oxidative therapy. It works on cancer cells. It is cytotoxic. For the cancer cell, not for the normal cell, because normal cell will take vitamin C and flush it out. But the cancer cells, if they take vitamin C, they die due to ROS, the oxidation of. We have multiple approaches, but it is holistic. So whatever we do, I don't look at one part of the body and target the treatment. We look system as a whole. That is our main, at least, when we practice, we do that. That we look at person as a whole and we stop treating them as a compartmental disease.
yeah, I agree and I like that approach because people need to be more, I think, from my experience till now, that they take as cancer as like it's like same for
Stigma.
everyone. When I understand it's different, my cancer was different. What worked for me might not work for the person with the same cancer
Exactly.
because my body level is different. Like I can find the same food more spicier than you can. So it has to be tailor-made. Like, hey, I need more of this vitamin and you need more of this protein.
Of course,
Yeah.
it is patient-centric.
It is a
Yeah,
very
so
patient-centric, yeah.
exactly. So
It is
people need to understand that, hey, he was cured for that, so I'm going to go run there. So
Yeah.
that is what.
no. So I'll tell you, unfortunately, if you see medicine, there are only 5-6 groups of medicine: antibiotic, antihistamine, this, that, steroids, painkillers, NSAIDs, beta blockers, this, that. It's only few groups. Besides that, they don't have anything. Okay, when you look at that's why I say multidisciplinary. They are very good. You must do that. Or if you need to do it, but support it. What is there in harm in supporting? What is the harm in telling somebody that yes, you can do other things? What is harm in? I have, to that extent, paper doctors have told not to do yoga. मत करो. कुछ breathing में कुछ ऊपर नीचे हो गया तो problem हो जाएगा. Why? I mean, why should you stop somebody living holistically? Why should
Yeah.
you? It should be. That's why multidisciplinary, and I think that is the future of medicine. If you today do not support, and I think COVID-19 was the best example for multidisciplinary, where Ayush was up regulated, allopathy was taking help of everyone, breathing was given, steam was given, gargling was given, everything was done. नॉर्मल में ये सब कुछ नहीं होता था. अगर
Yeah.
आप टाइफॉइड देखोगे तो कोई दे विल नॉट से कि ओके गो टेक होम्योपैथी, टेक गिलोय, टेक काढ़ा. नहीं होता था. जहां पे उनको कोई समझ ही नहीं है ट्रीटमेंट डिसीज की. कैंसर इज आल्सो वन ऑफ देम. इससे ज्यादा समझ नहीं है, इतना ही पता है. But it works on a different psychological plane. It is a manifestation of pathophysiological, psychological condition. So, I mean, there is a lot to talk, and it's
And
not.
also,
Uh,
Dr. Millie, one very important question I want to ask is that when you, as he said, Mehul, that, you know, when anybody goes, there are set protocols given to any, like for a Hodgkin lymphoma or a breast ABVD protocol or this protocol. They don't see your genetic code. They don't see the inside of what it is. Suppose the same protocol will be given to everyone. They don't see the holistic side of your, or they won't see any other vitamins and minerals also, where most of the patients in cancer I've seen are vitamin D deficient. They will not even they'll not even do your CRP and ESR levels.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
from what my experience is, honestly, when I completed my treatment, I was out of the hospital, and I developed my own regime. Like, I made a trial and error kind of thing. What worked with me, what did not. I do have salads. I do have a smoothie because I don't like fruits. I do have all those. So I do have vitamins. I have vitamin E, vitamin D. I have ashwagandha. I have Arjuna. I have all these daily, every day. So no one told me to do that, but it was a trial. I eat this. Okay, I'm feeling good. I eat this. I'm not feeling good. So I do what my body feels good with. And I think that is what
Yeah.
is important. People should understand, like, your
Yes,
body is your best
one-
doctor. And if it
Absolutely.
reacts to it, it's not good for you.
So Shruti, that Mr. Vamshi had some question also.
Yeah, there are many my other questions also.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mail.
Thank you.
Does your advice to cancer patients extend to diagnose with multiple myeloma?
We can treat because the standard ozone therapy nutrition works on the whole body. So be it multiple myeloma, be it Hodgkin's lymphoma, be it whichever cancer, we can work along with allopathy, along with any other Ayurveda, homeopathy, whatever. This just needs to be added in your regime and it can work.
Yeah. As she said, any cancer, we do not categorize cancer. We should not categorize cancer. We should look at the body as a whole. So,
Where is that question? Any cancer?
no, I'm just telling.
That's your advice. Okay.
Also, one thing about I get these questions about the stages of cancer.
Okay. Yeah. So stage of the primary tumor, if you have one solid tumor detected and on your PET scan, you don't have any other spread, that is stage 1 and stage 2 together. Okay. Stage 3 and 4, when it starts spreading further. Okay. So this is on stage 1, stage 2. When you show a symptom, that itself is a stage 1. Okay, you diagnose with PET scan and everything, you've reached to stage 2. If it is not spread, you are there, you can work on. Now till stage 1, stage 2, I would prefer to have it operated, work on radiation and add all the other, nutrition, ozone, have a holistic approach along with conventional approach. But stage 3 and stage 4, they are left for experiments, which we would look at very, with a little keen eye, whether what is required, what is not required. And more so, stage 4 patients are left for God's mercy. They've just told them ki aap jiyo, aapko jaise jeena hai ji lo. Okay. There definitely we can have a good control. More than stage 4, I mean, you have to do something called palliative therapy.
Yeah.
So where you are working on their pain, we are working on their general well-being, you're working on adding life to the life.
Yes. And what I have seen, Dr. Millie, like we've seen for example, our patient from Jaipur, what incredible results they have gotten in spite of the surgeries and the kind of chemo. Then I don't want to name the stage, I don't want to name the patient, but we've had patients.
That was a stage 3, stage 4 patient.
Yeah, and
which is now very happy, healthy,
extremely
living
happy.
normal life.
Through 2 patients actually, both from Jaipur, both ladies. So I think we should not give hope when it comes to cancer. Devise your own way, and I think there are answers to everything if you have the will and willpower to questions should be asked, the proper methods, and I feel experts, which also in my journey, I had to like really screen through. I had to pick and choose what advice I should take. And that's why Avana is here, where we, especially with the cancer patients, where we give them the best of both worlds.
So here I just want to make one, okay? This is a public platform. I am saying this again. Cancer does need conventional treatment. It's not that it does not need it, okay? What are we aiming here as we are telling you to have a multiple disciplinary team. We are telling you to take informed treatment. We are telling you that change your lifestyle and see the wonderful result, and that can lead to your life. Okay, so whatever your years you're going to live, you have to live to the fullest, and this is what you need to do for your own self, for your own betterment. I mean, that should be the this thing. We are not here, we are saying complementary supportive adjuvant therapies. They will work wonderful. Do what you need to do, but add this, it will have a very good result. And if you're declined by them, if you're declined by a conventional treatment, then definitely this is your choice. You don't have anything, this thing.
Yeah. Yes, so it was indeed a very, very informative session. Again, Dr. Millie, thank you so much. I think everyone must have, there are key takeaways over here. Nutrition and the alternative therapies, whatever you do, take an informed decision. And guys, please don't lose hope. Do get in touch with Avanas. We've posted the numbers in. Dr. Millie is one of our panel doctors, and she has a lot of doctors under her. We have an online platform where we have patients from all over the world. So please do. There is one more. Thanks. It's for very informative. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Millie. We'll join you in another session. We won't let you go. Maybe another session. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope it made sense to you, and hope you will change something.
Thank you,
about.
Shruti.
Yeah.
All the best to Avana Health.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, so I'll leave, Shruti.
Yes, Dr. Millie. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.